Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Lone Oak Farm. It's day 5, I've just had my morning cup of tea and we have some work to do today. Let's go and check out exactly where we stand with our fields, etc. Actually, we'll leave the door open. We'll close the screen door. There we go, get some air into the house. It's quite cool, actually, considering it's still summer. It's only 12 degrees out at the moment, although I'm sure that temperature is going to go up as the day progresses. Ground temperature, 18 degrees at the moment, so it's actually warmer on the ground than it is out in the air. Let's pull up our farm map. And as you can see, I have a worker standing by just here. And, well, I say standing by, actually working away, rolling out field 44. This is the last of the fertilising that needs to be done. Getting our field here up to stage 3. Everything else, as you can see, is done. So last night I rolled out this field here to make sure that that was done. We'd already finished all of our spraying elsewhere, and our other worker was here spraying out field 50 for us. So we got everything done. What can we do today? Well, apart from our weeding, you can see that we have seen some growth on our fields. Nothing is ready to harvest yet, but as you look here, you can see we're in the final growth stages on our 2 cornfields up here, which means these are now ready for chaffing. So we're going to be doing some corn chaffing today, and field 24 is now fully grown as well, so we'll also be doing a bit of grass chaffing as well. We're going to be really concentrating on filling up our bunker at the BGA here today. So the truck is already parked up here, as you can see, ready and waiting for us. We need to make our way over to the to those fields with our forage harvester. So let's pop in here. Let's fire her up. And we'll grab the corn chaffing header. We'll do our corn chaff first. Close enough. There we go. Header is attached. And our trailer is in our sort of big corrugated shed over here, so need to spin around. Just jump out. Open the door, and this is where I decided to store the animal trailer as well. There was enough space for me to casually kind of back it in there between the trailer and the door. So our animal trailer will live in there because it's not something we're going to need regular access to. It's absolutely fine just there. Now, can I back this in at the right angle? I think I'm rubbing against the side of the door frame there. Let's try that again. There we go. Let's pull forward a bit, get connected up. Excellent stuff. Get the door closed up again. And let's make our way over to fields 5 and 6. To start our chaff. I think we'll start on field 6. The plan, as we discussed a while back now, back when we were planting our corn, I think, the plan was that we would do field 6 and part of field 5 today, and then we would let field 5 grow all the way through to fully harvestable corn, so that we can then do a comparison on the yield of chaffed corn against, you know, final growth stage versus fully grown. So let's get our beacon on because we're going to be hitting the main road. And I will see you when we get there. We are very much a slow lumbering beast in this, only able to go 20 miles an hour. And we do take up quite a bit of real estate on the road. There you can see is our truck ready and waiting. And it looks like our worker, well, he says he's finished. He hasn't finished. He's just reached a certain point where he can't turn around because everything behind him is done. So let's pipe out. Let's unfold the header. We'll do a border along the bottom here. Might have to do 2 borders actually along the bottom. Or maybe even 3. Just so that we can get the worker to run this without causing a major obstruction for traffic. And we're getting a decent kind of yield by the look of it, just off this single little strip that we've done here. You know, you can see we've already racked up 7,000 litres. That's not bad. I am curious as to just how much we can get off this field. It should be a lot. Corn is the best way to make chaff, so we would certainly make a lot more chaff from corn than we would from, say, mowing the grass field for 24 or 44. It's not too bad, I think, 11,000 litres. So I need to turn here. This is where it's going to get tricky. Luckily there's nothing coming. I'm being very careful not to drive on a field that I don't own as well. Do not want to cause any damage to another farmer's crop in any way, shape or form. Not only is it bad etiquette, we would have to pay out some form of compensation as well, so it would hurt us, you know, both financially and you know, reputation wise. Is that going to be enough of a border, I wonder? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that is to unleash. I don't think it is. I think we might have to do another one. But we'll unleash the worker. We'll keep an eye on him as he runs down here, because I think we're going to need to do the same at the other end as well. There is a bit of a ditch down there. It may well be that the worker will just stop short and we'll have to kind of manually do that, but that does mean he drives through the crop. I don't like to see that, so we may well have to do a manual sort of cut at the other end of the field as well. Let's see how we do. If we look at the weather radar as well, we've got a really clear picture now of exactly what's going to happen in autumn, and the answer is it's going to rain a lot. We've got 6 days, and 4 of those days we have bad weather forecasts. Now, we don't know how long that rain is going to be, you know, in effect. We don't know what time of day it's going to hit us. It could hit us morning, afternoon, evening. It could be what we could see, and this has happened before on our weather radar when we've seen 2 days of rain back to back like that, is it could rain in the evening of one night and carry across into the morning, the very early hours of the morning the other day, and that accounts for the rain on both days' forecast. So I'm hoping that what we're going to see is late rain Tuesday evening that's going to carry across to Wednesday morning, and then we'll have to wait a few hours, probably sort of around sort of 10, maybe 11 o'clock in the morning, for things to dry out enough for us to start harvesting, and then we should hopefully have clear weather through Wednesday afternoon into Thursday, Friday, and then maybe even into Saturday afternoon before it rains again in the evening and carries across to Sunday morning, and giving us that final day to kind of, you know, a final afternoon into evening to try and get done whatever's left. Whatever the case, we are going to have to do a lot of harvesting at odd hours of the day, I think, just to make sure we can get everything off the field, because we do have an awful lot of crop. We've got 2 wheat fields just here, we've got 2 big canola fields just here, 2 barley fields in 43 and 45, 2 corn fields down here, and then all of this is soybean. It's a lot of crop to bring in a very small window of time, and I am a little worried that just possibly we might run out of time to get everything done. So I'm really hoping that's not the case. Really hoping that is not the case indeed. But we won't really know that until we get to harvest season. Our crops aren't quite grown yet, and I had really hoped that something would be ready today, but we were a little late planting. Well, not so much a little late planting, but we were a little late getting things growing because of the temperatures. So whereas in our first year of planting we could basically plant on day one and it started growing on day one of spring, this year, because we're using, you know, the Northwest Oregon geo, we could plant earlier, but we had to wait for the ground to warm up before stuff started growing. So it was towards the end of spring before it was warm enough for stuff to even start growing. That is a little bit of a worry, because I was hoping that we could get at least our wheat, barley and canola started at the end of summer, and it doesn't look like that's going to be the case now. I'll be amazed if stuff does grow tomorrow, because transitions last 2 days, and because we started a new transition today, it's unlikely we're going to see any difference tomorrow. Yeah, like I said, a little bit of a worry. Okay, there we go. So the worker has stopped. Oh, no, he's started again because he's seen the truck. Fire the worker. What I need to do now, if I'm really careful, is try and back alongside as close as I can get without causing a problem with the header. This is going to be tricky because normally I don't go in like this. I normally go in from a different angle. Ooh, you see, that's what I was trying to avoid, just nudging the combine. Oh, this is tight. I can just about do it. There we go. So we won't quite get everything in there. We'll have a little bit left in the trailer because it's got a slightly larger capacity than our semi-trailer, and we also accidentally put, you know, 1,000 litres or so in the trailer as well before we got to got here. But we get the worker back in the way, and we're blocking with the truck. There we go. Touch wood. The truck will go to the end, or the harvester will go to the end and won't cause an issue with the traffic. I just want that delay leaving slightly. It's not like we have far to go, because I just want to watch him make this turn. This could be crucial. This could define whether we need another pass at the end or not. And will also give us an indication as to how many passes we might need at the other end when we get to the get to that gully, that little sort of dried out creek bed. Right, is he going to cause a problem with traffic? It gets close look. Luckily, he's not turning into oncoming traffic. If anything, he might just pause a sec, making his turn. Although, yeah, he is having a little trouble squaring back up in time. We might need to do another pass. Nonetheless, it's time for us to drop this. Oops. At the BGA. Go. So I need to slow cruise control right down to 0 for this. I think we might need to bring the Magnum up here with the blade as well, so that we can start squashing some of this down as we progress. We'll certainly make sure that everything is squashed before we move on to the grass field on field 24, So we'll have to do some pit work later. Let's get cruise control set. And off we go. Nice, slow, controlled tip. And that is the first 65,000 litres of our corn chaff. Right. Let's get back on the field and do those extra borders that we need. We are about a third of the way through the field, I would say, given the borders that we've cut at each end as well. So a nice sort of good amount has been done already. We've done 3 trailers so far. This is trailer number 4. We're making pretty good time. We're getting through this field pretty quickly. And of course, once we've done this, we'll start levelling out the pit, make it nice and compact, squash it all to one end, and then we'll go start chaffing our grass field 24 over by the sheep as well. We might even call in there and just see if they need tidying up as well, seeing as we're over there. And can we get to the end before we run out of space in our trailer? I think we should just about make it. It's going to be really tight. Yeah, really tight. Okay, so what we may as well do is fold the header up. And what I've found is that because of this slope of the hill, it's just a little bit easier for us. Plus we'll be pointing in the right direction again if we do that. There. So let's go get the truck. Let's fill that up and take trailer number 4 over to the BGA as well. I found a message through from Sam as well to tell us that our case header and our Optum have also arrived at the store. You can just see there is our header in that sort of delivery bay just there. I've asked them to do a quick diagnostic check on the Optum because it was a software problem that caused the engine malfunction on our Magnum. So they're giving the software a quick diagnostic check on the Optum just to make sure that we're not going to run into similar problems with that we did with our Magnum. Hopefully everything will check out absolutely spot on and we'll be fine. Now this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky trying to fill the pit, because we've got to try and get in between these 2 channels, and we should be able to get in. It's just a question of whether we can get out at 0 miles an hour or not. That's the tricky bit. I think we should, as long as we're careful and position the truck just about right, we should be okay. So let's give this a try. Oh yeah, we're going to be absolutely fine here. So we're getting a nice good base layer of chaff here in our bunker. plenty of space still to go, and it looks like we've got a fair bit in here, but don't forget, this is uncompressed, this is uncompacted, so in reality there's actually a lot less here than it looks like. And you'll see just how little this actually takes up once we get it all sort of squashed and leveled with our Magnum a little bit later. So there we go, that's that trailer done. Let's get back to the field and carry on with our corn chaff. So as you saw, we had our staff bring the Magnum up for us there. It's been configured with dual wheels to give it a bit more width and a bit more hopefully a bit more traction. And there's the blade there. We're going to start compacting this because we're running out of easy space for us to squeeze things into. So what I'm going to do now is, before I head back to the field, I'm going to basically stay here and I'm going to start working the pit as best I can until we get the warning, you know, the message that our worker has kind of stopped on the field. And when he's done that, then we'll kind of head over. So let's get cruise control down to say 6 miles an hour, just so we can get a nice steady rate of speed. And we're basically going to flatten this out a little bit. Now we've got these grooves in between where we have already tipped. We're basically just trying to create a surface, kind of like a ramp for us to drive along with future trailers, to make the tipping process a bit easier, and so we can kind of repeat what we've already done. So instead of having lots of lumps and bumps that are going to cause problems for our truck and our trailer, we're going to try and, as I say, level it out, give us a nice straightforward, easy surface to work from, to make distributing the chaff into this bunker a lot quicker and a lot smoother. Getting to the point where we've got quite a lot building up in this sort of middle section here, so I'm going to have to keep kind of just pushing away stage by stage like this. And you can see how, as we are pushing it along, it is filling the gaps between the two previous kind of runs that we made in this location. It's not going to be quite so prominent in the other areas because we were tipping at a slower speed, so there's less of a gap between them. Plus we've kind of gone in down the middle and filled in that channel already with an extra trailer's load. So this is the worst bit in terms of gaps. As you can see, it's now looking much smoother, much more stable. It's time for us to really kind of push this right up against the wall. I really am curious as to just how much chaff I'm going to get in this bunker when it's done. I mean, you saw how little 500,000 litres was when we did our silage sell-off, you know, a little earlier in the year on the other bunker. So this, I wouldn't be at all surprised if this holds, you know, upwards of 3 million, maybe 4 million, maybe even 5 million. These are very, very big bunkers, and it looks like we might have got a little wedged. There we go. It's gonna get tricky, that much is for sure. Straighten the blade back up again. Just tag any of those loose bits. Flatten that back out again. And now we have space for our next couple of, well, our next 3 trailers worth to go in this area here. We'll have a nice smooth ramp for them to drive up to the back. we're on to the final strip of this field here, and those borders seem to have worked wonders. We haven't missed anything that I can see. There's nothing popping up inside or outside of our draw circle there to suggest that we've missed any crop. Can we get it all in this one little bit? Or are we going to have to empty and come back for a tiny bit? I think we're going to get it all. Yep, we're going to get it all. Fantastic. So there we go. This field is done. We need to head over the road. It's taken longer than I thought, actually. It's 1:45, as you can see. Time is ticking on. But our bunker is nicely smoothed out. We've really got to grips with that. And we have space for plenty more chaff. So we have our cornfield over here. This one we're probably going to have to do manually, I think. Just simply because of its shape and size. There's not a lot of space that we can actually do. You know, a lot of automated work here. So if I pull forward to there, I don't really like bringing trucks on, but this is the quickest and easiest way for us to turn these around. And we have to kind of back up to the truck like that so we don't get too close and have issues when we do the unload process. Yeah, we're not tipping on the floor, that's good. At the very least, if we are going to get some automation done, then we do need to take big chunks of headland, probably off both sides of the field. Let's beacon on, make our way over there. Unfold the header. We'll try and automate this field if we can, just because it's, as I say, time's ticking on and I want to try and get this done as quick as I can. I have actually taken, on a few occasions while we're finishing off that field, I did end up leaving this sitting in there in the field for a while before I went back and emptied it, simply because I was working on levelling out all that silage. Now that's done, there'll be an instantaneous kind of turnaround. As soon as it finishes, or as soon as it fills up, we'll be unloading. And because of the lack of space around here, what I'm going to do is a headland at each end of the field, and then loop back down the side and do the headland at the other end of the field, and do that 2 or 3 times. And when we have this kind of boundary at this end, as you can see, but I don't want to get, again, I don't want to drive into another farmer's field if I can help it. Oop, just clip the edge of our crop just there, a little clumsy. Go. I think that's probably a big enough headland at that end, but we're definitely going to need a bigger one at this end, otherwise we're going to be in the ditch. Can I get around here? I think I put myself in an awkward position. Yeah. I'm going to need to pull out of the field and then turn back into it again. Like that. And I think we're going to need a third headland as well, just to be on the absolute safe side. So we are going to end up eating up quite a bit of the width of this, or of the length of the field. But that's okay. That's fine. as long as it all gets chaffed. And don't forget, we are going to be leaving some of this as well, so that we can come back and chaff that when it's fully grown, just for a straight comparison. Actually, that farmer's field is the dead field, so I don't mind turning around on this one. I'm sure he won't object to that little turn around there. Hopefully that'll be the only time we have to do it. So let's get a nice clean straight line across here. What we need to do now is to get a complete record of exactly how much chaff we get on a full pass up this field. So let's get the truck unloaded. We'll come back and we'll empty out the trailer, and we'll get a completely pure count as to just how much chaff we get from a single pass. We'll make a note of that, and then when we come back to finish that field off, we'll do the same again. We'll make a note of just how much we get on a single pass, and then we'll have a definitive answer as to what the actual difference is, and we can even work out a percentage difference as to how much more or less you get depending on what type of corn you're chaffing. We'll try and be as scientific as we possibly can. There will be a little bit of variance between each pass, because we've got to, we can't be lined up in exactly the same spot and get exactly the same amount going through the header, but it can be close enough so that we've got a really strong indicator. I personally don't think we're going to see that much difference. I think it's going to be pretty similar, if not the same. Other people have been saying to me, you will definitely get more if you chaff in the final growth stage rather than fully grown corn. I don't see that myself, but we'll find out. We're going to be scientific and actually get a genuine, confirmed kind of test done here to give us a definitive answer once and for all. So that'll be quite interesting to see. We'll have to come back. I'm trying to think. In a few days' time, we'll leave enough on the field for us to be able to complete the test. Right, so let's pull along the side, empty out, and like I said, I want a completely empty trailer so that we have a completely accurate figure. And what I'm going to do as well is I'm not going to do it on the edge of the field. I'm going to go straight up a middle chunk of the field. So that we've got the same opportunity to get the same amount of product through the header when we do both tests. Right, let's move the truck out of the way. I've gone the wrong way. That's the ditch. I keep forgetting about that ditch. Ooh, big snapback there. It doesn't like being turned at that tight an angle. Never mind. It's a bit late now. Alright, so we'll park that there. It's time to test out just how much we can get on a single pass. Worker-driven pass as well, so we stay in a pure straight line. So, here we go. Worker hired. How much can we get on a single pass here? And I need to make sure I jot down the amounts as well, so that when we do have this test, we've got a recorded figure for us to actually compare it against. $7,500. It's 10,000. And there we go. There is our official answer, 11,968. So, the real question will be, how much will we get when we complete that test a second time? That will be a very, very interesting question. And hopefully a very interesting answer as well. You know, we could radically change how we go about chaffing corn next year based on how this little experiment goes. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that we'll take some of that off the field on that side, but we'll make sure we've got at least 2 widths, probably 3 widths worth of corn available to us, so that I can do the same again. I can position the harvester and just get as much into that header on a single pass as physically possible. We'll get a worker to go through it, and we'll see just how much we get on a pass of fully grown corn. But I'm going to carry on working away on this field now, and once this is done, we will take our Optum back to the farm, and we'll also need to take the forage harvester back. We'll leave the trailer set up over here, but we'll need to take the forage harvester back as well, so that we can pick up the mowing header and start work on the grass field. Just finishing off this first section here, and I thought it'd be quite nice to do a little bit of in-cab harvesting like this, in-cab chaffing. It's not a bad little view in here like this, is it? Just see the pipe there, but we can't see what's actually going into the trailer. And I've noticed I can just see the edge of the header there, but you can't see it on the other side because you've got the frame of the window and you've got the control panel. Kind of makes it quite tricky to see the very edge there like that. Right, we need to take a section here. I think that's enough for our experiment. So we'll run down here. This stuff to the right hand side of the harvester, that'll be what we keep for our experiment, and then we'll get everything on the left hand side. We'll get all of that chaffed. And then our corn chaffing for the year is almost essentially done, apart from what we're deliberately keeping aside. We've made quite a bit. I probably should have taken a note of just how much chaff we had in the bunker before we started. Never mind. I've lost count of how many trailers I've done as well. There's no point me going back and reviewing the footage because, you know, there's a lot of trailers worth of footage of chaff that didn't go in, that didn't go into the footage of this episode. So, I'm kind of really not sure just how much we've made. I might see if I can find on an older episode just how much chaff we made last time out. Just to give me kind of a rough idea. But we still have more to put in that bunker today. Obviously we've got this little bit of corn left to do. Once this is done, we have, you know, all of the grass on field 24 to do as well. So an awful lot still. It's not going to be it for the rest of our chaffing by a long way. It's the end of our corn chaff, and I think next year maybe we might do a bigger corn chaff. We might need to get an extra field for corn chaffing next year. So I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe field 4. It's a bit of an odd-shaped field. Maybe field 7. I don't know. We've got a few choices available to us, and we're full. I actually wasted a little bit of chaff there. I've just realised. Never mind. Let's get this unloaded into the truck. There we go. And then I'll manually finish that section off there as well. There's the bunker there, you can see we've got quite a lot in there now. Really is starting to fill up. And as I say, by the end of the day, once the grass is in there as well, that'll be you know, looking pretty good. But it still won't be the end of our chaffing, because we're still going to have another cut, at least one more cut on that field, on that grass field 24, before the end of our sort of chaffing season. And then it'll start fermenting through the end of autumn into the early stages of winter, and then, assuming that we don't have any issues with snow, we'll be looking to actually sell it off in the winter itself. Right, let's get the worker back on. We'll do a pass and we'll come back and finish this off in a second, but first let's go get this delivered. Let's go this way for a change. This might be a little bit quicker. The diagnostic on our Optum is finished. It's ready and waiting for us. So that'll be what we do. The very next thing we do once we finish working this cornfield will be to take our Optum and our new corn header or our combine back to the farm. Magnum will stay up here for a little while to keep working away on squashing and compacting this silage that we're bringing in, or this chaff that we're bringing in. There we go, nicely lined up. And off we go. Right, so let's swap the headers out. There you can see is our Optum. Looking forward to pressing that into service at some point in the very near future. Might even get that to help out with the rolling once we're done mowing the field and sort of into the late hours of tonight. It depends at what time we get done with the mowing, I suppose. Right. Time to go back, collect the trailer and move our silage or chaffing operation over to field 24. So a slight drawback. We're not actually collecting any chaff because we're not chaffing, we're just mowing the grass. So unfortunately, this little strip that I've done so far has all been a complete waste of time, and now I've got to try and get this trailer back out so I can at least empty it into the truck and do as little damage to the grass field as possible in the process. This could be quite tricky. Ah dear. Oh well, lesson learned. Can't mix grass and chaff. And this will not create chaff, it'll just create grass cuttings. I completely forgot that. I thought it was creating chaff, but no, it's my bad. Luckily, with the rear wheel steering, it does make reversing this easier to control the trailer. For the most part. Right, this is where it gets tricky. I want to try and back it around the corner. Nearly got it. There we go. Right. Check for traffic. I need to put it on the other side of the path because I need to get the truck in on that side. Oh, this is clumsy, but it's getting it done. Kind of. Straighten up so we can get the truck in. Alright, there we go. Right, now we need the truck. It's starting to get dark and we've still got a lot of this field to go, as you can see. Probably halfway through this kind of main section here, but we still have all that there around the side going down towards that field, and also towards, you know, the tree line over there as well. So there's a good couple of hours, well, say a couple of hours, there's a good 3 or 4 hours worth of mowing still to be done here. I don't think we're going to have time to get all of this done tonight. So what I might do is I might leave this kind of here, because I want to get a decent night's sleep. We need to kind of stock up on sleep because we're going to have some very, very long days coming up in autumn when it comes to doing our harvesting. So I want to kind of store up a bit of sleep if I can. Get in sleep credit, which is, it's very easy to get into a sleep debt where you just don't sleep enough and then your body eventually just goes bleh and shuts down on you. Whereas you can build a little bit of sleep credit if you know you've got a period where you're coming up on lots of very long days and not much sleep, you can kind of build a little bit of sleep credit just to help offset some of that, sleep debt you're going to build up. But it's not a huge amount. But if we can do a little bit of that in the build-up to autumn, it does help us. It will definitely help us when we come to doing those ridiculously long days around the harvest, where we're going to be probably running for 18, 19, maybe even 20 hours a day, just to make sure that we do get, all of our crop in. So I think what I'll do is, once this trailer is full, we'll shut down and we'll come and we'll finish this off tomorrow. We potentially have a real shortage of jobs to do tomorrow as well, because I'm not expecting any growth to happen overnight. And so we're going to get to a point where once this is kind of done, the chaff is kind of squashed down, there's going to be nothing for us to do. All of our fields will be fertilised. We'll need to roll this with the weeders. That's only going to take so long. And beyond that, there isn't really anything else for us to do. So if we save a little bit of this, we can do some of that tomorrow. We can take care of our cows tomorrow and top their levels up just enough, just to make sure that they've got enough to get them through overnight, because I'm a little concerned that they may possibly run out in the early hours of the morning. So we'll give them a little bit of a tweak, but we'll take some proper care on them tomorrow. I've already topped up the, cleaned up after the sheep, but they're fine. They don't need any more water or bales just yet, so we could look at stocking them up again tomorrow as well. And then beyond that, if we do have a shortage of stuff to do, there are lots of fields in the surrounding area that are ready for harvest. We could perhaps look at helping out some of the local farmers. Run a couple of contract missions just to help out with their harvests. Who knows, maybe they'll help return the favour when it comes to our harvests. You never know. So yeah, we'll see how things go, and we'll see where we stand once the sun comes up tomorrow. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with another episode of Lone Oak Farm very soon.